this is Bob Mason from FX Empire and welcome to the daily crypto tech review of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin and Ripple's XRP. Looking at the MACDs, the moving averages, the day's support, resistance and pivot levels and the Fibonacci's. It is Saturday the 13th of March. Jumping straight into Bitcoin against the US dollar and the hourly candlesticks bearish start to the day. Going to need to see Bitcoin move back through the pivot at 56,880 to take a run at the first major resistance level, sitting at 58,576. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Bitcoin to break out from February's swing high 58,321.2. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and resistance at 59,000 to cap any upside. In the event of an extended rally, should see Bitcoin test resistance at 60,000 before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 59,856. Then to move through the pivot, we'll bring the first major support level at 55,600 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Bitcoin should stay clear of sub 54s and the second major support level at 53,904. Looking at the MACD, we've got a bearish cross at the start of the day, supporting the early morning pullback. On the EMA is a slight narrowing of the 50 on the 100 and the 200, but nothing suggestive of a bearish cross yet. So keep through the early part of the day, move back through the pivot at 56,880 and back through to 57,000 levels to bring resistance levels into play. Failure to do that, and support levels will be in play. Moving across to Ethereum against the US dollar, also bearish this morning. Going to need to see Ethereum move through the pivot at 1777 to take a run at the first major resistance level at 1833. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Ethereum to break back through to 1800 levels. Barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level to cap any upside. In the event of a breakout, should see Ethereum test resistance at 1900 before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 1898. Then to move through the pivot, we'll bring the first major support level at 1712 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Ethereum should stay clear of sub 1650s. Second major support level at 1656 should limit the downside. Looking at the MACDs, we've got a widening of the bearish histogram this morning after yesterday's late failed bullish cross, supporting the early morning pullback. On the EMAs, the 50s closing in on the 100 and the 200, also a bearish signal. So key through the early part of the day, move through the pivot at 1777 and back through to 1800 levels to bring resistance levels into play. Failure to do that, and support levels will be in play. Moving across to Litecoin against the US dollar, also bearish. Going to need to see Litecoin avoid the pivot at 215 to take a run at the first major resistance level, sitting at 231. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Litecoin to break out from yesterday's high, that was at 224.33. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level to cap any upside. In the event of another breakout, should see Litecoin test resistance at 245 before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 240. A fall through the pivot, we bring the first major support level at 205 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Litecoin should stay clear of the second major support level at 189. The 23.6% fib at 195 should limit the downside. Looking at the MACD, we've got a narrowing of the bullish histograms, supporting the early pullback. On the EMA, the 50s holding its ground against the 100 and the 200, however, suggesting a possible recovery through the morning. So keep through the early part of the day, avoid the pivot at 215, break through yesterday's high, 224.33 to bring resistance levels into play. Failure to do that, support levels will be in play. Finally, looking at Ripple's XRP against the US dollar, also bearish this morning because you need to see Ripple's XRP move through the pivot at 0.4424 to bring the first major resistance level at 0.4614 and the 38.2% fib at 0.4632 into play. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Ripple's XRP to break back through to 0.46 levels. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect first major resistance level and the 38.2% fib to cap any upside. In the event of a breakout, should see Ripple's XRP test resistance at 0.48 before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 0.4835. Ready to move through the pivot, we'll bring the first major support level at 0.4203 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Ripple's XRP should stay clear of sub 0.40 levels. Second major support level at 0.4013 should limit the downside. Looking at the MACD, we have a widening of the bearish histogram this morning, supporting the early morning pullback. On the EMAs, the 50s pulled back further from the 100 and the 200, also a bearish signal. So key through the early part of the day, move through the pivot at 0.4424 and back through to 0.45 levels to bring resistance levels into play. Failure to do that, and support levels will be in play.